ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Snap Material. We are back for June of 2025. Let's go ahead. We'll jump into talking about last season real quick. This is new X-Men. You and I discussed some of the cards. So now we get to talk about what it was like going up against some of them and actually probably acquiring a few as well. Our first card was Esme Cuckoo. 3 cost, 4 power. On reveal, copy a card from your deck into your hand and set its cost to 3 and power to 4. So my previous discussion, I said Luke Cage, and granted, I saw her a fair amount. I mean, not a whole lot, but I saw her. She was out there. But, you know, for the life of me, when she would show up, I'd be like, what did she do again? Because I couldn't remember. It didn't have that much of an impact as to whether I was thinking I was losing or winning. And at no point did I look at any game and go, oh, I lost that because he played Esme. It's a very good possibility it was because I wasn't paying attention, or it was just one of those cards that people threw into their deck and really didn't build too much around. Anyway, I saw her a fair amount. I didn't get the season pass, so I didn't have the opportunity to use her at all. I think I might have ended up with her accidentally because of some location or something like that. Other than that, that's it. I don't have much to say about her. How about you?
Yeah, saw her every once in a while. Never really felt like I was missing out. Now, I would pair her with Silver Surfer or Luke Cage should the opportunity arise, but I feel like she's a card that I'll get when I'm trying to get another card. Not anything I'm avoiding. Sometimes the cards I avoid, I turn out to be proven wrong by. A little foreshadowing there. Not one that really tempted me, and not one that I'm like, oh, I got to have this.
Yeah, I think the Surfer idea is great because as long as you're not trying to put in too many huge cards in your deck, she brings out a copy of a card that's set to 4. And if, you know, copies of cards, you're getting a card earlier that's in your deck, which is nice. Crystal gives you that opportunity. Both of you draw a card. This is a situation where you get her. You're the only one drawing the extra cards.
And so, it really is an extra card,
right,
depending on who you get. She definitely could come in handy, but she also could just be kind of a dud.
Right.
So, yeah, it's not like there's no upside, but it's not one where you're just like, yeah, I got to get Esme. You're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, she could fit in here.
Right.
She gives you an extra Iron Man. That's great.
At 3 cost, 4 power. Holy crap. Okay, next up is Surge. 2 cost, 2 power. On reveal, give the top card of your deck -1 cost and +1 power. After you play it, repeat this ability. Wow, this apparently was the card. I saw a lot of Surge this season, and I'll tell you that I think she made quite an impact.
Oh, yeah. She can go in just about any deck. There's definitely strategies to maximize her. The first thing I put her in was something with Gilgamesh to boost everybody up, but the first thing I put her in was Gilgamesh with Thor and Beta Ray Bill. Problem is you need to play certain cards. What I didn't realize until I saw her in action was that it doesn't just repeat once. Every time you play a card that's been affected by her, you can activate her bonus. It just keeps chaining a bunch of cards that could get me as many points, but it didn't matter like what order you played them in. Like she's probably not going to boost Thor's Hammer or Stormbreaker or whatever. That deck had a certain order you needed to play stuff in. I don't even know if I still have that deck because I cycled through a few, but it was mainly just cards that would be good no matter what order you played them in. Hopefully you could just keep that chain going with her. And that did okay. I had a lot of decks this season that did okay. That were either fun or got me a ways and then stalled out. But yeah, I mean, you can put her. I mean, if you're making a deck and you're like, I got a slot for a 2 power card here, maybe something that could, why wouldn't you put her in? She's one. Now, I did a while back try to build a deck with the cards that can go in any deck. It wasn't very good because it did a lot of stuff, but it didn't excel in any one area. She gets you a card for cheaper. She boosts power and keeps it going. There's not a lot of downside to it unless you're doing things in a certain order and you don't maximize her bonus. But even if you just get one card for -1 cost and +1 power, who's complaining?
No one's complaining.
Especially not for a 2 cost.
All right. So the next card up is going to be Prodigy. 3 cost, 4 power. On reveal, if this is in the back row, copy the text of the card in front of it. My initial thought, I think last discussion, was Iron Man. And then I built a deck where I don't even think about using Iron Man at all. My first deck with Prodigy was a move deck. What I was trying to do was get 2 Madam Webs out there and just start bouncing things all over the place. The problem is this back row mechanic is tough to pull off.
Mm-hmm.
It can be pretty complicated. And then what ended up happening, I took Prodigy and threw him into my Islands in the Stream deck, where Namora is pumping up just single cards out there. At one point, I actually took a photo. I was wanting to send it to you. I never did. A couple nights ago, I played and I had Magic out there, and I had some other 1 or 2 cost card, maybe 3 cost out there in another lane. Anyway, so I got 7 turns, and I couldn't get Wong out there. Instead, I had to play Namora, which is not what I like to do. I do not like to play Namora alone. I want to have Wong out there so I can boost the other up by 10. Instead, I played Namora out there. Then I played Odin, and then I played Wong, and then I did Prodigy. And Prodigy hits Odin, and I don't know what happens because it fast forwards. And the next thing I know, my other 2 cards are up 70 to whatever their other side was, boosted them up huge.
Yeah, I didn't think about trying him with that.
Him getting to back up Wong or just having him in that deck was nice because you could then throw him into that combo. And it's an extra card that you don't mind having for that combo. A lot of times it's Wong, Namora, Absorbing Man, Odin. That's essentially the 4 cards that you want to try to get in that combo.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't draw 4 of them, that whole combo falls apart. Prodigy kind of is helpful in regards to that. Prodigy can actually get that going. So anyway, that's really where I liked him the most this season. So yes, he was the first card that I got this season, and I was like, I definitely want to try Prodigy. So anyway, got him. It isn't game breaking, but it's kind of, like I said, it's hard to get him in position because there'll be a lot of times where you're like, here he is sitting in my hand, and I don't want to play him because I need him to do something, and there isn't another card that will allow him to back them up.
Yeah.
That's my experience with Prodigy. How about you, sir?
Yeah, I did not end up getting him. I don't think I was too excited at first, and he was not one of the ones. I still haven't decided. I generally like the snap packs, but I haven't quite figured out if it's better or just different than the Spotlight Cash system. But I did not end up getting him. I played him today with an anti-move deck, or a deck where I move the opponent's cards. They set him up to copy somebody, and I moved one off of the front row, and he dropped to the front row. So I saw him a few times. I mean, he's one definitely more upside than Esme, but kind of like that where he could make a difference or he could do not a whole lot. But if he doesn't do a whole lot, your floor is he's Cyclops, so he's not going to hurt out there. You hope he's going to do more than just give you 4 power, but he's not bad.
Not bad. All right. Next up is Elixir. 2 cost, 3 power. On reveal, one of your cards destroyed last turn gets revived here. My notes are, originally I put nice little antidote to Gambit, which I guess so. Haven't had much desire to get him, though. As the season progressed, he's one of those cards where I'm just like, number one, I don't like playing Destroy anyway. That's just me. So destroying cards I'm just not all about. So Elixir doesn't really appeal to me. I don't know if I've gone up against him to where I thought, oh my gosh, here comes Elixir. I'm sure somebody probably played him against me, but I don't remember winning or losing that match at all. So any experience with Elixir?
I got him. He's the one I wanted the most. I got him to work once.
So what's the combo? I mean, he's 2 cost, 3 power. So he can be out there as early as turn 2. You probably don't want him out there turn 2, but plus you got to destroy something. Yeah. I imagine Carnage has got to be in place. So you probably aren't playing him until turn 3.
I'm trying to think I don't remember what deck I originally put him in, but it might have been an Erisham deck. I really don't remember because I was excited. And then after a couple times, I'm like, I can't make this work. What he needs to be, I think what would improve him, and wouldn't surprise me if they changed it, is to make him an activate card.
That would
because otherwise you just want to hold on to him. There's sometimes like on turn 2, you're like, well, I guess I can skip this, but there's times when he's your best option or your only option. You haven't had anybody destroyed. So if you're not playing him in a destroy deck, if you're not destroying your own cards, he's basically Shocker, and you hope that maybe something will pan out.
There's probably some kind of a misery combo in there or something. Misery, Fire Hair, Elixir, or something like that.
Definitely. It was one that I was real excited about, and then I tried it, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to make this work.
I wonder, so you destroy a card, you lay out Elixir, you then use Misery, to destroy the card again and Elixir, who would then revive the card again, and I guess Elixir again.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't think about using him with Misery. At first, I was just like, I'm just going to have him in this deck in case somebody gets destroyed. Like, I may even had some higher power cards, and it's like, that's just,
Right.
Yeah, I'll toss Luke Cage in a lot of decks in case power gets reduced, but that's more common. Not that getting a card destroyed is uncommon, but usually they're Shang-Chiing you on the last turn and destroying your hopes and dreams. So, yeah, I'm not saying he's bad. He wasn't as effective as I had hoped. I don't know why I didn't think of Misery, because usually, my default tend to be, okay, how can I use this with Silver Surfer? How can I use this with the Misery and Firehair?
Yeah.
I didn't go there for some reasons. I like that. I'm gonna have to mess around with that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can pull something off that's really good. When you're sitting there thinking about it, Misery is what, 3 cost or 4 cost?
She's a 4.
4. So at turn 4, the cards that you may have destroyed are all going to be either probably 1 to 3 cost at best. I don't know. And you got to get Elixir out there too. So I have no idea.
Maybe with him and Misery and Firehair, you got a chance of having someone fire 3 times. Now I'm just being a caricature of myself, but maybe it is a mostly Silver Surfer deck, because that will give you a lot more cards so that you don't feel like you have to play Elixir or skip a turn to save Elixir.
You're going to have to try this combo and let me know if you can figure some stuff out.
I will get right on that, or possibly forget it before we're done recording. But then I'll listen to it and be like, oh, there have been a couple times where I've listened back to an episode and I've been like, oh, that's what I wanted to do with that card. It's helpful. I do want to try Elixir some more, but I was really trying to get back to Infinite this time. So he just kind of fell by the wayside.
I hear you. All right.
I don't know why I was really trying to get back to Infinite, because other than a shiny, snazzy card back, well, if I hit 90 in that 500 gold, I feel like I've accomplished something.
Yeah. All right, next card, Zorn, 2 cost, 3 power. After any 3 or 4 cost card is played here, move it to another location. I did not do anything with Jean Grey like I thought of doing last season or last discussion. I thought maybe that would be a neat thing to play, to always have him moving around. But Kingpin and Craven were in my move decks along with Scream, and I was having some fun. Put it that way. And then it wasn't until probably about 3 or 4 days after getting Zorn, I was like, man, I need to start putting Vulture along with Zorn and just lay Vulture on that lane with Zorn, and Zorn moves them over, and boom, now you got a 9 after a +6. So Vulture becomes a 9 power card right after that, which is pretty nice. I definitely sprung for Zorn. I had all sorts of fun putting them in a move deck and messing with people a good bit. Any experience with Zorn this season?
I wanted to get Zorn, but I couldn't. And I'm not sure if I ran out of tokens or if I don't remember exactly the order of things happened in. I ended up with Kaori, who is not a bad card, but just didn't excite me. I mean, I put her in a couple decks. She's useful, but I wanted to get Zorn. I did see him, and he did throw some wrinkles in for me. Have you read a lot of comics with Zorn?
I've read the new X-Men original.
Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison, yeah. I've read the original run, at least not all of it, because it goes on for a while, but I'm pretty sure. When did he stop writing a new X-Men?
Well, I forget. It was right after he revealed who Zorn really was.
Okay, then it was shortly after that, because I did get to the point where I figured out who Zorn was. But I remember sitting here asking you our last discussion. I was like, oh, that was Cassandra Nova, right? No.
But and it turns out it wasn't really Magneto either. There were 2 Zorns, and our mutual friend Christian said that had something to do with editorial at Marvel being mad about Morrison leaving abruptly. But the real gem is in there. There was a backup story in Marvel Comics Presents where, after the Falcon had disappeared in the whole Onslaught kerfuffle, Zorn became Red Wing's new partner. And all of that stuff was a lie. I just made that up. But Zorn and Red Wing I saw paired a lot.
Yeah, go on for a second.
It was all. I don't think Marvel Comics Presents was even being published then. New X-Men definitely happened after Onslaught. I just wanted to layer that in there to say that, no, I don't think anybody's ever gone, you know who we should have in a comic together is Zorn and Red Wing. But that's a Marvel Snap team up for sure. I saw several times people dropping Red Wing down, and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, that works pretty well.
That's smart. That's real smart.
Yeah, probably Vulture's the better way to go, and also an unlikely pairing. But you look at Red Wing and those adorable little goggles and tell me you don't want to see him perched on the shoulder of whoever or whatever it is. A little hawk iron mask like Zorn has.
I'll be sick. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that's he can definitely mess you up. And yeah, in a move deck, especially, or a forced move deck, I need a better name for it. Actually, I call my deck that uses that Axe of Vengeance because it's the only time I can think that Magneto and the Kingpin were on the same side or in the same comic.
Yeah.
I've tried several variations of that, and if and when I get Zorn, I'd probably like to toss him in that deck.
I didn't put this together until after our discussion. The 3 or 4 cost moving away from him makes so much sense because Magneto does the exact opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Magneto grabs all the 3 or 4 costs and puts them in that list lane. Zorn moves them out. I didn't put that together till after we talked. All right.
I definitely want to get that one.
Yeah. I mean, I've had fun, especially in a move deck, just being able to throw a wrinkle into things because now people are playing on the other 2 lanes and usually they're trying to avoid that one, or they're playing all their 1 or 2 costs, which they're not really going to carry much power. So if you can throw in something big at the end, 5 or 6 costs, it might get you the opportunity to win the lane. Mm-hmm. I liked it. I like it. All right. Getting into our locations for last season. Our first location was Pit of Exile. Cards with 10 or more power cannot be played here. I don't even remember playing much that Wednesday. Whenever it dropped, I honestly cannot recall if I legioned that at all or if it even made an impact. Cards with 10 or more power can't be played here. I don't remember seeing much of it. And I honestly don't remember seeing much of it afterwards either, which is kind of strange.
Well, other than a Surtur deck, I see a lot of decks that seem like they're intentionally avoiding the 10 power cards so that Shang-Chi can't ruin your day. I don't have any 10 power cards in the Living Iron slot deck. Why risk it? I think that I can think of 1 or 2 times maybe that I was like, oh, I need to put it. Oh, no, I can't put it there. But usually you're not going to have that many of those. A lot of times it'll be a non-factor, but I can see it popping up and messing you up once in a while. But, Crimson Cosmos doesn't always bother me, but every once in a while it'll bother me, you know? Right. So I think that's what you want from a lot of them is just enough impact to make it interesting sometimes, but not tilt the game. Although this one, I think, has a little bit more narrow of an impact than some of them. Yeah,
I was going to say, if I was running a deck, it's instant retreat. Unless I've got something to change it, I'm not going to try to, I'm not going to try to get around. There's no way to get around it. It's not a war machine. But again, you got 10 power cards. War Machine might be frequenting that deck. All right. And then finally, our last location is Genosha. After turn 5, all but your highest cost cards here are destroyed. So my thing was I'm going to Legion this thing. And it really didn't seem to impact the game that much. I don't know why. And I think a lot of people knew that the location was featured. So they were all kind of shooting for trying to make sure that, okay, my deck's not going to have any other cards that are played at that time or whatever. I don't know.
Most of what I did when it came up was just try not to put more than 1 card on it. I mean, it can definitely, if you're not paying attention or if somebody moves a card somewhere you don't want it can definitely make a difference, but I didn't build anything specific for it. I just tried to play at other locations until it was safe.
I'm trying to think if I saw anything that was fun and exciting with it, because I know I legioned it a few times and that was just like, okay, this really isn't making that big of a turnaround. All right. Well, there it is. That is our discussion of the new X-Men, dropped May 6th of 2025. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.